Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to another type of way to factor. I mean, it's not like you still have to be able to get all the common factors, but it's a very specific method. Number one, you cannot do this if they have anything in common. You got to factor out what they have in common first. And the way it works is this. It's like two parts. So you factor out any common factors. So this has no common factors. Then you form an x. The product of the first and third coefficient. So the number in front of x squared is 1, and the third coefficient is 63. So 1 times 63, you put it there. The middle coefficient, you put here. Now, what are the factors of 63 that give you 16? Maybe I have to pause this for a second. Okay, so you should come up with 9 times 7. 9 times 7 is 63, 9 plus 7 is 16. Then you make a box. Now for this problem, like I would never do what we're doing, but like for just demonstration purposes, just follow along. So we put a box. In the upper corner of the box, we put x squared. The first term goes in the upper corner. The third term goes in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, this 9 and this 7 can go into either box, but when we write them as 9x and 7x. We add an x to them in the box. So now, what does x squared and 9x have in common? They have an x. What does 7x and 63 have in common? They have a 7. What does x squared and 7x have in common? They have an x. What does 9x and 63 have in common? They have a 9. And these are all positive. So those are my factors. So this guy is factored to x plus 7 and x plus 9. Now some of you that are like factoring, you're going to go like, you know what, I could have done that a lot faster. True. But when they get harder like this, they're not as easy to factor. So when you try to find the factors by just looking at products, it's not as easy. So watch me use this method. So first of all, 2 times 6 is 12. That goes there. The 7 goes here. So what are the factors of 12 that give me 7? 4 and 3. So I make this box. In the top left-hand corner, I write the first term, 6x squared. In the bottom right-hand corner, I put the third term. 4 and 3 go in the remaining boxes with an x attached. Okay, what does 6x squared and 3x have in common? They have 3x. What does 4x and 2 have in common? They have 2. What does 6x squared and 4x have in common? They have 2x. Like they both, you can factor out 2x from each. What does 3x and 2 have in common? 1. So this actually factors to 3x plus 2 and 2x plus 1. Those are the factors. That's what you're after. Now, can you do it a different way? Yeah. Like I can take 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. Now watch. So I'm going to do it without the box or anything. I know everybody's positive. The only factors of 2 are 2 and 1, so I got to have a 2 and a 1. There's going to be an x here and an x here. Now here's the thing. I have to look at the factors of 6. 6 and 1 and 3 and 2. And I have to think about putting them into these parentheses and creating a middle term of 7x. So I know if I put a 3 there and a 2 there, it's going to work because 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 1 is 3, 4 and 3 is 7. So I can do it logically, or I can do it by this method. So this problem, I wouldn't do it by any method. I would just do x, x. The last term, like I gotta have a plus and a minus. I need more positives than I do negatives. So I would just do plus 4 and minus 1. I would just be done with it. I would, if I have a simple trinomial, I'm not going to go through that whole x problem. Now I'm going to go through the x. So like my goal is to find the factors. Okay, that's what we're after. So we form the x. 2 times 7 is 14. Put the 15 in the bottom. So what are the factors of 14 that give me 15? 14 and 1. Now I make the box. 2x squared goes in the top corner. 7 goes in the bottom right-hand corner. 14 and an x and 1 and an x. Now, what does 2x squared and x have in common? X. What does 14x and 7 have in common? 7. What does 2x squared and 14x have in common? 2x. What does x and 7 have in common? 1. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my factors. Now, to prove it, if I were to multiply it back out, first times the first is 2x squared. Outside times the outside would be 14x. 1 times 7 would be 7. Whoops, I forgot like one term. Well, I just kind of messed that up. Let's see, 14x. 1 times x is plus x. 1 times 7 is 7. So that's 2x squared plus 15x plus 7. It works. Those are what I'm after. So this is the harder factoring. So here we go. So we make an x. I'm doing this problem now. Whoops, I gotta have like a bigger x. Okay, so 7 times 7 is 49. That goes here. 50 goes here. So what's the factors of 49 that give me 50? 49 and 1. So I make the box. 7x squared goes there. 7 here. In one box I put 49x, but it doesn't matter what box I put it in. The other one I put 1x. What does 7x squared and 49x have in common? 7x. What does x and 7 have in common? 1. What does 7x squared and x have in common? X. What does 49x and 7 have in common? 7. So those are my factors. So the factors of this guy right here are 7x plus 1 and x plus 7. Let's try it again. Make an x. 11 times 3 is 33. Negative 14 goes there. So I need the factors of 33 that give me negative 14. And they're both negative. How about negative 11? Won't let me make a negative there. And negative 3. So I make the box. 11x squared and a 3. Now, and in this box I put negative 11x, in this box negative 3x. So I look at the two boxes going this way. 11x squared and negative 11x have 11x in common. Negative 3x and 3. Now this is important. See how like the first guy, when I'm going this way, the first guy is negative, so I have to take out a negative. So that means that's a negative 3 they have in common. So they have a 3, but I have to like have a negative because that first guy is negative. 11x squared and negative 3x have x in common. Negative 11x and 3 have a negative 1 in common. So the factors of this guy are 11x minus 3 and x minus 1. So if you multiply that out, you'll see 11x times x is 11x squared. 11x times negative 1 is negative 11x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 1 is plus 3. So that's 11x squared minus 14x plus 3. It works. Now, you can, if somebody wants me to do it the other way, just to show you, I can do 3x and x. They're both negative because the last term is positive and the middle term is negative. So now I'm just thinking, like why does it have to be 3x and x? Because what else can you multiply together and get 3? Now 10 is 10 times 1 or 5 times 2. Well, as I'm looking at it, I'm going, oh, look at, if I take 5 times 3, that's 15, and 2 is 17. So if I put the 5 there and the 2 there, that'll work. Just to prove it, 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 5 is negative 15x, negative 2x, and plus 10, which is 3x squared minus 17x plus 10. Those are my factors. So if you don't like factoring that way, you use the x in the box method. So here we go. The x method. Oh, 15 times 11. Oh, like that's kind of cute. 165. The middle term, negative 26. Oh, this is just nasty. So I need the factors of 165 that give me negative 26. And they're both negative. Oh, that's easy. 15 and 11. That was kind of nice. So now we do the box. After I factor, I'm not going to go back and prove that they are right. I'm just going to accept that they're right. So in the top right-hand corner, I put 15x squared. In the bottom, I put 11. In one box, I put negative 15x. In the other box, negative 11x. So if I go this way first, 15x squared and negative 15x have 15x in common. Negative 11x and negative 11 have negative 11 in common. Remember, if the guy on top first is negative, I got to have a negative. So I was going that way. Now I'm going to go this way. 15x squared and negative 11x have x in common. Negative 15x and 11, they have nothing in common other than number 1, but I got to make it negative because that guy on the left is negative. So my factors are 15x minus 11 and x minus 1. You don't believe me? Multiply that, you'll see it works. Okay, here we go. Next. Now, none of these have anything in common. I should always check that. So, like 8x, 18, 19, yeah. So here's the x method. 8 times 9 is 72. Put in the 18. So what's the factors of 72 that give you 18? So think about it. So, I mean, you can look at all the factors of 72. So that's like 36 times 2. That's 18 times 4. That's 9 times... No, not 9 times 6. 9 times 8. Oh, you know what? Like, I missed some factors. Okay, so I should always start with just 1 times 72, 2 times 36, 3 times, let's see, what, 24? 4 times, 4 goes in 7 once, with 32, right, 4 times 8, 32, okay, 5 can't go, 6, can 6 go into 72? 6 goes into 7, yeah, 12 times, right? So it's 6 and 12. So that's a way of like looking for them. Now we do the box. 8x squared goes there, 9 there. That goes in one of the boxes, that goes in one. Doesn't matter which one's which. I'll keep switching it just to show you. Okay, so now we're going to go this way. So what does 8x squared, I'll make that a little wider. What does 8x squared and 6x have in common? They both have a 2x. What does 12x and 9 have in common? They both have a 3. So there's one factor. So let's do this color coded. This may help. Maybe not, but what the heck. So what does 8x squared and 12x have in common? Well, they both have a 4x. What does 6x and 9 have in common? They both have a whoops, forgot my pen. They both have a 3. So my factors are 4x plus 3 and 2x plus 3. I need to pause for just a second. Okay, so here we go. Now, none of these had anything in common. Notice how these 3 have something in common. You've got to start by taking that out. 8 goes into 24 3 times. 8 goes into 32 4 times. 8 goes into 8 once. So there's what I'm factoring. Now, I don't have to do like that whole x method. I know that's 3x and that's x. I know they're both negative. There's only one possible factor for 1, 1, and 1. Now, if you check it out, it'll work. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 1 is negative 3x. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times 1 is plus 1. So that gives you 3x squared minus 4x plus 1. So that's what I'm after. Oh, this is messed up. This is supposed to have a square on it. Make that b squared. Otherwise this wouldn't work. So like everybody edit that, put a square there. Okay, so now let's try it. The 63, 89, and 30 have anything in common? No, unfortunately. Oh, yuck. So I gotta have an A and an A. I gotta have a B and a B, just like the A gives me the A squared, the B's, and they're both negative. I gotta look at the factors of 63 and 30 that give me 89. So now this is a pretty wild problem. So I can do the X method. 63 times 30. Wow, this is not gonna be fun. 0, 3, and 3 is 9. That's 1890. And the middle term is negative 89. And they're both negative. So I need the factors of 1890 that give me 89. Wow. I could have been mean on this one. Let's see here. Boy, if this thing is like not factorable, I'm going to be like upset with myself. So this is 2 times 945. I'm just like seeing what goes in there. They got to be relatively... look at that 89 sounds so like familiar. So 10 times 189. No, that didn't work. 9, 10, 8. Oh, 9, 10 is 18. So 9 goes in there. So what's 9? So that would be 9 would go in there 210 times. I'm just looking at the factors of 189. So let's see. 189, let's see. So that is actually 21 times 9 times 10. I'm looking, and they're both negative. I'm just looking to find these factors. Give me a second. Okay, so you're not going to believe this, but for real, 34, 5, and 54 are the factors. That is just so mean. Okay, here we go. So we do the box. And we actually have an A and a B. So this is 63A squared. This is 30B squared. And then in the box, interesting enough, we put 35AB and 54AB. Now, what does 63A squared and 54AB have in common? It has 9A. What does 35AB and 30B squared have in common? It has 7B. And, oh, wait a minute, I forgot, did I forget? Oh, these are supposed to be negatives. Anyway. So this should be a negative 7B. Okay, so what does 63A squared and 35AB have in common? Let's see, 5 times 7. How about 7A? Negative 54AB and 30B squared. Well, it's going to be negative. It's going to be a B. Let's see, 9 times 6. How about 6? No, something went wrong there. 35 and 30 do not have 7 in common. That was lame, Michael. Or Mr. White. Anyway, so 35 and 30 have 5. Yes, negative 5B. So my factors are 9A minus 5B and 7A minus 6B. And that is the factors. That was yuck. Okay, so now you have homework to practice these. So you can practice any method you want, and I'll help you factor, but practice any one of those, and you need to be able to do it for your test. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll come back and we'll take care of this later. Whoop, need to pause this.